I don't think I ever wanted to be a writer. I thought I was a poet very early, and I thought I probably stays a poet. Hi, my name is June Millicent Jordan. I have written about 27 poems already. I was born in 9th of July 1936 in Harlem, New York. I had a difficult childhood and especially fraught relationship with my father. My parents were both Jamaican immigrants. For a long while during childhood, I was relatively short, small, and in some other ways, a target for bully abuse. Poetry was the first kind of literature my father gave me to read. So, I started to write a poetry when I was 7 years old. Because of this, I became very sensitive to sound and also excited by the sound of words. My first award in my life was to win a poetry contest on Flag Day, and I thought I must be good at this. But sadly, my father never supported me on writing the poetry. My favorite poem is the poem of Haruko. It is the poem in the book called Haruko Love Poem. This poem is talking about the female lover, how female is missing and looking for the love that she missed but already end and she cannot return. I never thought I'd keep a record of my pain or happiness, like candles lighting the entire soft length of the air, around the full length of your hair, a shower organized by God, in brown and urban, undulations luminous like particles of flame. Now I do. We thrive an afternoon of apricots, and water interspersed with cigarettes, and sand and rocks we walk across. How easily you heal my hand, beside the low tide of the world. Now I do. Relive an evening of retreat, a bridge I left behind, where all the solid heat of ruts and tender timbling lay as cruise and as kind. As passion spins its infinite circumvallations in between the bitter and the sweet. Alone and longing for you. Now I do. The poetry devices that have been used in this poem are repetitions and metaphor. I use the word now I do many times in the poem to emphasize the meaning of the woman who is missing and longing for her beloved. In the poem, the word I referred to the woman and the word you referred to the person who is the woman beloved. The poem is firstly talking about the time that both of them would stay together. At that time, the woman does not know that the time they would spend together were good or bad, until they broke up. After time have passed, she then realized that every time they were together was a gift. The first example of repetition in poem of Haruko is in stanza 2, line 1, the word now I do. I use the words now I do to tell the reader that the woman understands her feeling and missing of the old day. She knows that although they have hard time together, but still they can walk through the bad time together. For second repetition in stanza 3, line 1. I repeating the word now I do again to tell that she understands that they could not return back to each other, even though they still love each other. The last now I do is to emphasize the reader that the woman already understands her feeling and everything that happened. The second poetry device that I use is metaphor. There are many metaphors in the poem of Haruko. One of the metaphors that have been used in this sentence is like candles lighting the entire soft length of the air around the full length of your hair, a shower organized by God. This sentence shows the feeling of woman that comes up about the relationship that was past for a long time. I use the word soft length and hair to show how long she has been thinking of the time they were together. The second metaphor that I use is water interspersed with cigarettes and sand and rocks we walk across. How easily you heal my hand. To describe the pathway that they will walk together. The word water interspersed with cigarettes and sand and rocks compares as the pathway that they will walk together was full of the obstacles that obstruct them. But they still walk across the obstacle together. And the last metaphor that have been used in the poem is a bridge I left behind were all the solid of heat of rust. I use the word bridge I left behind to tell that the woman already broke up the relationship. The word rust describes the time that she has broke up the relationship. And when the bridge is full of the rust, it means that she could not bring back the relationship anymore. For the theme and tone in the poem of Haruko, I think the theme is the feeling of missing, unlocking of woman to her beloved. The sad part of this poem is the woman in the poem could not going back and recover the relationship anymore, and this have been shown in the tone of nostalgic.